Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Schmoes Show. I'm your host, Steve Ryan, and I am a fucking schmo. Thank you, you two. About time you did something.
And I'm tired. And I'm very tired. And a schmo.
I think we're all tired, dude. I get you.
Yeah. Can't wait for the fall. We've started to get just like the little taste of it this week, and I am so fucking ready to start wearing sweatshirts again.
Just do what I do, dude. Just wear them outright.
I don't know. I will say, since I've lost weight, it is so much easier to do that, because my problem before was that I would just absolutely die of sweating.
It's skinny dude privilege.
Yeah, I can wear long sleeves in the summer and not die now. So one step at a time.
Really it is, though. Skinny dude privilege all the fucking way. Regardless, this is like my favorite time of the year, is like these transitions from like summer to fall and from winter to spring. This is peak Michigan. It's like what, 70 out?
I think it's only in the high, at least here it is currently 68 degrees.
Oh, fuck me.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to open my fucking window.
You know, I was actually about to do the same thing. Oh shit, I just got a nice breeze in.
If my neighbor's air conditioning turns on, I'll have to turn it and close it really quick.
It's loud.
It's literally right outside my window, so not super loud, it's just right there. This week though, this week and last, holy shit. Every once in a while we get these situations where one of us will have to take a week off and everything happens, and then we get back and nothing happens. And the world just decided that things were going to keep happening. Holy shit. You want to just jump into it here? Start racking them up? Because there's a lot to go through. All right, I'm gonna take a break from form here. We're gonna start with what I think is good news. Well, I don't want to call it good news, right? Because it's the kind of thing where if things pan out like they're looking, I would like to very smugly be correct about it, but it's going to be bad for a lot of people. And that is that the AI bubble seems to be, if not popped, right on the verge of popping. In this last week, like literally the last 5 days, there have been so many, not like, I don't know, it's hard to call them indicators, right? Because like, it's not a hard science, but there's been a lot of things that have been, yes, so many canaries. We have like a whole cage full of dead birds right now. So to start it off, Sam fucking Altman called it a bubble, an AI bubble, like out loud. No trying to wiggle around it. He just called it a bubble. So like right off the start, that's not great.
No, it's not.
Past that,
man, Sam Altman.
Yeah, this is the guy who founded OpenAI, who just released their next generation of chatbot, GPT-5, and GPT-5 has been a shit show, to say the very least. The improvements that it has had have been marginal, kind of at best. It does some things a lot better, but we are seeing the sort of knock-on effects of just how fucked this whole thing has gotten, where the kinds of problems that people are having. Like, did you know, oh god, what the hell is it called? I don't remember the exact name of it, but did you know that there is a whole subreddit dedicated to people talking about their AI boyfriends and girlfriends?
Yes, I think I shared that. If not with you, I've shared it with a couple of my friends because I've been like studying that.
It is fascinating and really fucking gross.
It's scary. Like, the one thing that I've kind of taken away from AI right now, because I agree with you, if it's not popped, it's popping. I can hear the little in the background whenever AI is mentioned. I hate that AI has felt very predatory towards the mentally ill.
Yes.
Like, speaking as a mentally ill man myself, fuck that. Works made me learn AI, right?
Yeah.
And the first thing that stood out to me was this, is like, if someone just did not have a good constitution talking to this thing, I can see an emotional dependency forming real fucking fast.
Absolutely. And to that point, that has been what we have seen with this AI boyfriend girlfriend thing, is that people were talking with this chatbot like it was on ChatGPT 4 and 4.0, and ChatGPT 5 comes out, which prevents people from being able to use the previous versions as readily, as easily. And it actually is like a marked improvement. It's not glazing people as hard. It's pushing back when people try to talk about things in these kinds of relationships. It's setting fucking boundaries. And these people are viewing that as a negative.
To me, it struck me as they just wanted to get those dependent people off to take off server space so they can fucking afford to live.
I don't know, but they need those people to pay in.
Yeah.
Those are the people who are the whales in this situation. They need those people paying hundreds of dollars a month.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. The other side of that, right, is that there was a study that came out this week. I don't remember the exact publisher. I can try and find it real quick. I bet if I just do 85 AI 95%, it'll probably pop up. MIT, there we go. An AI study, or an AI, not really a study, like a analysis of companies in enterprise spaces and assessing how they have been able to implement AI into their workflows and whether or not it has actually improved anything for them, found that 95% of companies that have introduced AI into their company in some way have not seen any growth in profits that they can attribute to it.
It's almost like it's literally just a ghost. So, with that being said, you know what's going to be really fucking funny?
Yeah, what?
This is my prediction here, right? When the bubble pops, I don't think these businesses are going to die, right? But I do think AI will start being used as a marketing buzzword, and we will start seeing it rebranded as different types of software, which it really kind of is just a whole bunch of different, like, specialized software.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
The scale that these companies are trying to become and the amount of debt that they have is something that's not going to just be able to go away or get downsized. People like OpenAI have genuinely tens of billions of dollars in money that they need to pay back to people that they don't have and have not been able to demonstrate a way to be able to make. And downsizing into something that makes sense at this point isn't an option for them. The best way that I saw it put was that they need to keep having these private venture capital funding rounds where they raise the most money of all time, every single time, basically forever, because the actual product that they make is not just not making them money, it is costing them billions and tens of billions of dollars annually that they're just losing right off the top.
Hell yeah. Where is that money going? I mean, besides the obvious places.
The other problem, though, right, is that even if that does happen, we can look to the dot-com bubble and the housing bubble as other examples of how even when a company doesn't necessarily die, you know, because you could have OpenAI, to continue the example, is technically part of Microsoft now. They're a significant majority owner in it. So Microsoft is probably not going to die as a result of OpenAI going under. But the what do they call it? The Magnificent Seven, I think is what it is. The top 7 performing stocks right now that are these technology companies that are heavily leveraged into AI that make up something like 45% of the entire stock market. Once you start to look at the bonds and the other, combined asset things that are reflected with these, it doesn't take them going down by much to have that ripple massively through the rest of the economy. And even if there's a potential for something like OpenAI to downsize into a company that might make sense, I don't think they can do that at the same time that the entire economy is grappling with the impact of their poor decision making.
It does seem like this is going to get real bad real fucking fast.
It will absolutely get worse before it gets better. Some other canaries, if you'd like them, because there's more, and they get worse. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt said that AGI, artificial general intelligence, is, quote, basically bullshit.
Yeah.
And he is completely correct. The idea that large language models are going to try and through some magic, basically, become a general intelligence is founded in literally nothing, complete smoke and mirrors. The big one this week, though, Meta, who owns Facebook and Instagram, and I guess Oculus, has announced a hiring freeze for all AI positions. This being just 2 months after they announced that they would be, sorry, not even 2 months, just over a month after they announced that they would be building out, multi-gigawatt compute clusters the size of Manhattan. And now they're not hiring anyone.
Man,
that is precipitous.
If I were one of those assholes who made their whole job about learning AI just for these new cushy jobs, I'd be so pissed right now.
Yeah. Yep. The biggest and most loudest death knell, though, I think, this was pointed out by Ed Zitron through a Wall Street Journal article talking about the Meta stuff. And the thing that's most likely to kill this AI bubble is that the old men bankers are starting to say that AI is taking away from shareholder buybacks. And
really?
I don't know how you come back from that kind of scathing criticism, right? But it kind of is. They're explicitly saying that the amount of money that these companies are spending on AI through, infrastructure and talent is preventing these companies from being able to pay out dividends to their stockholders.
That's wild.
Certainly not dead yet, but it's not looking good.
So,
and to sort of bring it back to what we had talked about in the past, OpenAI in particular, who is something like 80% of the AI space right now by volume, still has in October this looming deadline of a bunch of old debt that they have that was structured in a way where if they could become profitable to a specific benchmark by that time, that debt would basically be forgiven. If they can't meet that benchmark at that time, that debt becomes real and they have to start making interest payments on it. And that's October of this year, which is 2 months away. So they have 2 months to do this thing while their own CEO is saying that we are in a bubble. I would still think that October is when we're going to see things kind of coalesce. It ties in with another one of our stories, and I guess we can bring into it here, where inflation is still happening. The tariffs are not felt yet to the extent that some people expected, but they are definitely there, and the major retailers are running out of ways to hide them. in particular, Walmart's CEO on an investor call a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was just last week, talked about how they are having to raise prices every single week as they figure out what new supply costs are going to be. And while total revenue has stayed relatively flat, they are starting to see people in low income brackets change their shopping habits as a result of the rising costs.
Good.
The big
Fuck
thing,
Walmart. Yeah.
well, yes, fuck Walmart, but people still need to eat, right?
Well, yeah.
People still need to buy clothes. The major problem that I'm waiting to see on the horizon is, even though, produce is seasonal, other things don't have seasons, but clothes especially have very tight quarterly schedules where they rotate in and out. And over the summer, a lot of clothing costs have been insulated from the tariffs because the actual clothes were bought and imported back in the spring for the summer season. The fall stuff starts to get imported in the summer, and then the winter stuff starts to get imported into the fall, right? So at the point when we get around to like October, November, and the winter clothes season is starting to come around, that's when we're going to really start to see the impact of these tariffs on things, right? And it gets extra compounded because winter clothing is obviously heavier weight. It's more material. It costs more already to start with. So we could be seeing this kind of come together in a way that we go from relatively regular clothing prices, like $10, $15 t-shirts, and then all of a sudden we're looking at $60 hoodies. And it's an open question as to whether or not people can eat those costs. So far, things are flat on average, but to put a bow on this, current Fed Chair Jerome Powell had his big annual speech that the Fed Chair gives this week, and he pointed out pretty specifically the big looming question mark that's hanging over the jobs market right now is that while jobs are relatively flat in terms of growth and loss, that is only because companies are eliminating positions basically at the same rate that people are losing their jobs. So when you look at the total picture of it, it doesn't look like there's a jobs issue because there are relatively few positions that are actually open that are taking new jobs. The other side of that, though, is that for people who do lose their jobs, it is going to be extremely difficult for them to find new jobs, particularly within the sector that they're already working in. So,
yeah,
really feels like we're on the edge of something really bad right now. I would love to be proven wrong, and we can come back in a year's time and have things still be relatively flat, but I really struggle to see how we get to that point without some sort of intervention from the government that they don't seem to be competent enough to understand at this point, let alone actually act on. Like this is the same government that's trying to fire Jerome Powell and install a crony as the head of the Fed. So, not good. That's my summary of it.
I don't really have much to say because, quite frankly, I agree with you. I'm very curious on how bad it gets before we get any relief. Because I think this is kind of me being cynical here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the average American's used to a level of comfort that, and this is like speaking from just what I've seen with COVID of all things. The moment you take away an American's comfort is when they start getting real fucking scary.
Yes.
So I'm curious on what economic downturn, how do you put the frog in the boiling water, and how far does the frog get,
Yes, totally. Something that I was just thinking about that I don't have the answer to right now, but that I would be really curious to figure out is how total debt is tracked. Because I could absolutely see the average American going much further into debt, much further into debt before they start to compromise on their quality of life.
Oh, that's like a known thing though, because like,
Yeah.
If you look at Americans, like, we've got a debt crisis. If you look at a lot of people who, and I don't mean this to be a dick, because I do understand the kind of the privilege I have talking to people like this, but like, you and I, we don't have student loan debt. We've been pretty blessed by all things standard, right?
Yes. Yes.
But like, you can see with like how much student loan debt can like rule a person's life,
Mm-hmm.
and they still may not contribute to their student loans in the way they should, and they have to go through fucking hell with their student loan providers.
Yes.
When they can't default, you know? Like, a lot of people, you know, student loan debt, everybody, believe it or not, is very bad. And if you get to a point where you're kind of ignoring it, which a lot of people seem to do, the consequences are even worse.
Totally.
Can I share a personal anecdote about student debt
absolutely.
and living? So out of college, right? I was set to have my student loan payments be $800 a month. I didn't let them get that bad because I worked my ass off in college and got ahead of them. But at the same time, $800 fucking dollars out of college if you weren't paying on your interest is bullshit. Yeah. And I worry about the people who, you know, I lived through college. I know people weren't making payments on some of their stuff.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are like living away from mom and dad at college, you know, you have living expenses to worry about before student loan expenses, because those are on, what's the word I'm looking for? What is it? Suspension until like you graduate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, deferred. I think that's the magic word. Regardless, your payments are deferred. You don't have to worry about making them. So you already get into the habit. And then you got to try keeping that quality of life afterwards with your loans. No, something's got to give.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We are
a bit of perspective. A bit of perspective that I got from it on the whole credit versus charge or credit thing in general was a conversation that I was listening to on a podcast talking about what is the difference between a charge card and a credit card. What is it that makes American Express like a thing? And the difference is that a charge card is basically a credit card that you have to pay off every month. Okay. Or you can't use your card at all. There's no late fees. There are late fees, obviously, of course. But the penalty for not paying your fees if you have a charge card is that you don't get to keep using your card. Whereas a credit card, they just stack up the fees on you and let you keep racking up debt. And for me, that was the same thing where it's just like, well, why wouldn't you be paying off your credit card every month? And it's like, oh yeah, because obviously people are doing that. In one case, because they want to maintain their standard of living when they can't, but in others, because they just don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They need to eat somehow, and they can't pay off the debt, so the debt builds up.
God forbid, if you're a fucking single parent, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking as, you know, the son of a single parent, like, that shit ain't easy. That's not for the faint of heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is rough out there, to say the very least.
Yeah. Feel very blessed with the circumstances we find ourselves in. Like, isn't like the new meme not to go to college at this point?
Honestly, I don't even know. Like, probably. I mean, that's probably the like correct, responsible thing to do, unless you have like a really, I don't know. I feel like this has kind of always been the case. It's more that the consequences for not doing it are just greater now, right? If you're going to college without a clear career path on the other end of it, you probably shouldn't be going to college right now.
Yeah.
Or else you're taking a huge gamble as to what your career is actually going to be. That sucks, but I think that's the reality. I would love to see more trade type schools pop up for the arts. I think that's something that we could actually improve on nationally a lot, is trying to sort of redefine our relationships with things like construction, right?
Yeah.
Where you can have construction trade schools, but they're very functional. Incorporate more expression into that, more understanding of why we do the things that we do, and try to re-spark some of that like 1930s, 1940s, I guess not 1930s, 40s, it'd be like 10s and 20s, 1910s, 1920s, sort of like American Renaissance kind of building styles.
I like
Use that as a way to leverage people into these careers that they currently look down on, by trying to redefine them as something that is more artistic than just functional.
Well, I think there's something like noble about those careers at the end of the day. Because like,
Yeah.
I'm a sad little man who sits in my sad little office all day, and I do intellectual work. And at the end of the day, all I know is I helped perpetuate a system that would have been there in the goddamn day if I wasn't, at the end of the goddamn day, if I wasn't there. Like construction, you at least can say, I helped make that, you know? Like, I don't know. Construction, like all those trades.
The kind of pride you get in it is definitely different.
Yeah. Shame what it does to the body, though.
Absolutely. And that is why we need better unions.
Yeah. That's another thing. That's like the one fault I'll put in your like trade school plan.
Yeah.
Employers are not going to want educated workers. I'm sorry.
True.
Yeah.
It is pretty inexcusable that we as the sort of American public allowed our retirement programs to get so messed up that the pension is basically dead now.
Yeah. It's hard out there, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we should change this podcast too.
I think it's rough out there.
It's rough out there with Kyril and Orion. Welcome to the show.
I do think that's an interesting, I find at least interesting that more companies haven't gone back to that as a means of promoting worker retention, right? Like, I'm sure you have it in your job space as well, but for mine in chemistry, the time that it takes to train up somebody who's brand new, even if they've been in, analytical chemistry as a field, you still have to go through all this shit with them to make sure that they actually know it.
Yeah.
And that takes like 3 or 4 weeks. And that's not obviously the end of the world when you look at the grand scheme of everything. But if you have a department with 10 people, and just because of the natural turnover, you're training a new person, one person every year, that's 3 weeks that you are paying somebody and paying the trainer to basically not do work. And if you could encourage those people to just not go to other companies, like, for example, offering them pensions as a bonus for longer periods staying with the company, you could, avoid some of that.
Farmers. Oh, fuck. We've got, I think, a really generous starting program. Hashtag come work with me. I dare you. I'm the meanest motherfucker at the job. Stay away from me. We get like 3 months. I think they downsized it to 2 months since my time, but it used to be 3 months of onboarding and training.
That's wild.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah.
One of the things they would do is kickstart your 401k immediately, and that was kind of like an incentive, like at the end of 3 months, to stay with us.
Yeah, definitely. I completely lost my train of thought there. Yeah, we definitely at my company have more generous than average benefits, I would say. I obviously look at people, particularly working in other fields, and be like, damn, that fucking sucks. But always room to improve, right?
Oh yeah, like I think farmers gives us pretty good benefits too, but that's because they kind of have to. They have to a certain degree, make sure that we're on their good side, because internal employees can do a lot of internal fraud. You know what I mean? You have to make the fraud look unappetizing.
It's kind of the same way at my place, where you don't want the FDA to come through and be like, "Hey, what's that?" and then not have a good answer for it. Yeah, I will say though, this is kind of, I don't know. It sounds silly to say it, but I think it's really legitimate. Is that the best perk of where I'm working right now compared to even the other like locations within the same company or other companies in the same field that are in the area, the area nearby, is that where I work has windows, and I get to look out at them at things that aren't just other buildings. That is so underrated from just like a mental health perspective of not feeling like I'm stuck in a big factory for 40 hours a week at least.
Yo, I can feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been talk for the last, basically since before I started working there, of this idea of, we're going to build a new building and we're going to move everybody into that same single building so that we don't have everything spread out over like 3 locations. And you just know exactly what that building's going to look like when they're done with it, because all the building spaces look the same these days when you're building something of that scale. And I would probably quit and move somewhere else that just pays better if they went through with something like that, because I want my damn windows.
We have actually I'm not going to say anything about the big farmers buildings, just because I think safety reasons more than anything. If you know what building to look out for, I can't be too crazy about it because it says farmers on it. It's farmers. But like at the same time, I don't want people to get a fucking idea where the big building is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But our big building, it's all like fucking windows. So I agree with you. It's like a giant donut shaped building. So everywhere there's a window, and then like you either get one side facing like the greater outside, or you get a small pleasant courtyard if you get the donut hole.
Yeah, that's nice.
It is nice.
I'm not sure what safety issues exactly it is, but I hear China has some really good nets.
Jesus. Yeah, that's the thing with farmers though. We can't open our building windows.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Well, you want to get some other news?
Oh yeah, we're doing
other stuff that also sucks. Not all bad news, to be clear, to be upfront. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is no longer incarcerated.
About time.
About damn time. He has been released a couple days ago. He is on his way home to be with his family. And God, I wish we lived in a country where somebody could get impeached for this clown show. Good quote that I enjoyed from the decision. U.S. District Judge Waverly Crenshaw upheld his release last month, saying he saw no evidence Abrego Garcia has ever been affiliated with MS-13 or any other gang.
But did they not see the fucking Photoshop?
It is good to see sense prevail at some point.
That's
unfortunately,
scary.
The U.S. government still wants to deport him. And specifically, apparently, they want to deport him to Uganda for some fucking reason.
They literally had to just pick a fucking, like, point at a map, you know? Uganda makes no fucking sense. Uganda be kidding me.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they have a person that they probably have hired in Doge now, whose whole job is to just wear a blindfold and throw darts at a map for where they're going to send people. Like, why fucking Uganda? What are we doing?
It's so funny to me to think that the U.S. government has a beef with this random dude from Massachusetts?
Mm-hmm. Maryland, yeah.
Maryland, my bad. Like, that, we're beefing. Tax dollars are being allocated to a beef with some random guy the government doesn't even know.
So where do we want to go from there? We've got, it's like a choose your own adventure, but every option sucks.
Do we want to talk about the 19? The lucky 19?
Oh yeah, we can go for that one. I guess to sort of set the framework for that, we should talk about the stuff in DC, get the build up. So earlier this week, the judge involved in the Big Balls assault released the two teens who were involved with it. They're currently on a sort of house arrest kind of thing where they can still go to school, but they have, electronic monitoring, no contact, 24-hour curfew, etc., etc. Seems interesting that would have happened, where the allegations in this are pretty extreme,
Yeah.
Like 10 people tried to carjack a guy and beat him up when they couldn't do it, and they're letting him out on not completely their own reconnaissance, but at all. It has raised some questions as to what the actual evidence that's been presented so far is, because it's the kind of thing you would expect to be pretty clear cut. From there, that was obviously sort of the inception of, what the hell's been going on in DC at all. We also had, I cannot believe she's a federal prosecutor, Jeanine Pirro's office saying that they will not be pursuing gun charges over people carrying rifles and shotguns illegally in the Capitol.
Law and order.
So yeah, really trying to keep the law and order there. From there, we got a wonderful little soundbite from JD Vance saying that in response to a question of people being concerned of martial law being declared, this is a power grab. He said, quote, "How is it a power grab when we've already declined murders by 35% in 9 days?" Which sounds amazing. If that was true, that would be incredible. Except, as we've been talking about, the murder rate, the violent crime rate in DC is at a 30-year low. And for the statistics compared to 2024, if that were true, it would have meant that they would have prevented a whole one murder in that 9-day period. And they only had to deploy 2,000 National Guardsmen to do it. So that's great. I guess the other side, though, is that they arrested that sandwich guy. So that's probably where it came from.
Oh, totally.
That brings it to the big news story of today, which is that the National Guard is set to be mobilized in 19 deep red states: Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. And allegedly, they're being deployed in order to support ICE operations in those states.
Those states that probably don't even have that many illegal immigrants in the first place.
Yeah. South Dakota, very well known for their high illegal immigration problem.
It kind of interests me because I do know Gatlinburg, Tennessee has like a lot of non-resident U.S. citizens working there because it's a big tourist town.
Yep.
So I'm very curious if ICE has done anything to that fucking economy there.
I'm sure they have. I don't know if we talked about it on the last one, but the Vegas economy is down something like 11% compared to last summer, predominantly due to reductions in international tourism.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it is absolutely having just the overall chilling part of it is having a definite effect. Beyond that, though, this is obviously going to be raising a lot of the same questions in regard to the National Guard being deployed in LA, right?
Yeah.
Primarily the legality of all of this. Is a state of emergency going to be declared in every single one of these states? That seems extremely specific if that's the case. Like what is problem is South Carolina experiencing that's a state of emergency that North Carolina isn't when it comes to immigration, for example. But beyond that, there is so many open questions that haven't been finished yet, even from the LA case. That probably I mentioned this before the show started, but I suspect that we're seeing all of this in red states specifically because they don't want attorneys general to be filing a bunch of lawsuits stopping this that they're going to have to then fight over.
There's only like so many lawyers the White House has, you know?
Yeah. I'm curious what the population of each of the states are. In particular, I'm curious to see how many of these states involved in this have smaller populations than LA does.
Oh, I'm guessing all of them.
So, where is the list here? We have... that's not the right tab. Alabama, Arkansas, Florida. There's the list. So Alabama, Arkansas, Florida. Those are... Please go away with your pop-up Wikipedia. Thank you. So Alabama's clear. Arkansas is less. Florida is obviously clear. They're quite large. I lost the tab again. Georgia, Idaho, Indiana. Georgia's probably pretty well clear. They're quite large. Idaho is not even close. Indiana probably clears. Yeah, they're good. So for reference, the population of the greater LA area is 3.9 million. So we have so far Iowa is at 3.2. Idaho is at 2. South Dakota is not even 1 million people. Wyoming has less people than the fucking District of Columbia.
Why are these states?
So yeah, and they get the same representation in Congress and in the Senate that we do.
Okay,
that seems about right.
Yeah.
New Mexico is less. Nevada is less. Ohio is probably more. They're around 12. South Carolina is probably more. Yep. So yeah, it's about 50-50.
For all those states that are less than the population of Los Angeles, I'm inciting a call of action for their larger brethren next to them to just annex them. This is going to just be more efficient for the government. That's one less state to feed and fund.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's a curious one. Interesting Wikipedia page here talking about population changes since 2010.
What'd you find?
Predominantly that most of them are up, which isn't too surprising. Since 2010, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we make more people or something.
That's not efficient for the government. Doge, get rid of those guys.
So yeah, very, very concerning with this escalation. We're gonna have to wait and see, I guess, what actually happens with this. The other part of it that is worth consideration as well is the cost to pay all of these people. It's not free. You mobilize the National Guard. You got to start paying people that you weren't paying before. So, yeah, not great.
I wonder what the National Guard themselves are thinking about this whole situation. It's probably like free money, but
it's been a bit mixed. I think we're going to start to see some shifting sentiment as people realize how disliked going along with this is making them. In DC in particular, only just this week was the order given that allows the guardsmen to actually carry firearms while they're out doing whatever the hell it is that they're being ordered to do. So that in and of itself is another escalation in all of this, and obviously raises the question of, like, what are they doing that they need firearms? The National Guard is not supposed to be policekeeping. That's pretty explicit. And the only reason that DC is a question at all is because DC is a weird anomaly compared to the way that the rest of the American government is set up. When it comes to other states, it gives the president a lot less room to try and maneuver around.
Of course.
As a bit of a side note on the whole immigration enforcement bullshit, the ICE has reopened a former site of Japanese internment during World War II, and is using it for ICE operations. Because irony is dead.
I legit thought you were going to say like a concentration camp. And then I thought, nah, that's out of the country. We won't have anything like that. And then you remind me internment camps exist.
Yep. It's Jesus. Bad.
They're not even subtle.
Nope. And to that point, they're also just really dumb. Where did it go? I don't think we actually had the chance to talk about it because I was gone, but no, I think we did. We did talk about Putin. That was the week that we last had the show, I think. Wasn't it? Was it? No, what day is it?
No, we actually just missed that.
Okay. So yeah, that happened. The fucking president of Russia was in the United States for a bit of a powwow with his lapdog. The aftermath of that has been very, very clear, where the administration's stance has rapidly shifted to be one of allowing the Russian government to keep the land that they have occupied and tried to steal from Ukraine, particularly in the Donetsk region. It has really been a stark turnaround because it's obvious that the Russian government does not care about U.S. interests. Just this week, they airstriked a U.S. factory in Western Ukraine on the border of Poland. They could not be more brazen in how little they care about American interests. But now we have people like, where is this bastard? Matthew Whitaker going out on CNN, talking out of his ass, quote, "No big chunks or sections are going to be just given that haven't been fought for or earned on the battlefield." Yeah, that's fucked. That is like pure 1800s colonialism type shit, and shouldn't be okay. It's not okay. But it's kind of fucking wild to hear somebody in the current year touting out that kind of logic.
So they're going to die on the battlefield because they're practicing what they preach, right?
Wouldn't be so, well, maybe, but it sure sounds like they'd be doing it on the side of Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adding on to all of this, we had JD fucking Vance on NBC quote, "This is how wars ultimately get settled. If you go back to World War II, if you go back to every major conflict in human history, they all end with some kind of negotiation." No, they fucking don't, JD. Germany fucking surrendered. Japan unconditionally surrendered. Germany was occupied and split in half for decades. Do you remember the Berlin Wall, JD Vance? It was kind of a big fucking deal.
Wait 1 second. I need to look something up.
Yeah.
I if this is true, I'm going to laugh my fucking ass off.
The whole thing is just so stupid and absurd. They just lie about everything in order to try and get debate points. And our media systems are just so fragile, so weak, that they don't push back on this obvious bullshit.
So JD Vance is not younger than the Berlin Wall coming down. Fuck.
Yeah, of course he's not.
I was really hoping so. It's like all those little babyface JD memes have ruined my conception of this man. I didn't realize he was fucking 41. I thought he was close to our age.
No, he's like 45. I was saying he's like 45, but yeah.
That's funny. JD, I know you're listening. You need to do something, my dude. I don't know what it is.
Take 5 years off? It's not a good sign, dude.
Yeah. Like, JD, yeah. I'm not saying this as like a political opponent. I'm worried about your health. Drink some water.
Mm-hmm. To sort of cap it all off, on, what is it, Monday? Was that Monday? On Monday, Trump had a meeting scheduled with Ukrainian President Zelensky and other European leaders. He took a break in the meeting to call the Kremlin, to call Putin. He just stopped it in the middle and did this.
Dad, have you heard about this? I'm scared.
Have you heard about this?
No, I have not heard.
Do you want to take a guess how long the call lasted that he had with Putin?
45 seconds.
Oh no. 40 minutes. He paused this meeting with, honestly, I don't know. That's a long time for any phone call. But what the hell? Our president had to pause a meeting with other world leaders to go talk to the fucking president of Russia for some reason.
That's really scary.
Not great.
No, that's not great. Donnie, come on the show. We'll talk it over. I'm sure you'll love to tell us about your great relationship with Putin.
Probably.
Is that even longer than they were in the summit together?
The Alaska one?
Yeah.
I don't think so. They had I don't, from what I understand, the actual meeting in Alaska, basically nothing happened. Yeah. They had lunch, more or less. And they talked about stuff, of course, but it's all a stunt, right? And this kind of demonstrates that, where he can stop a meeting that's scheduled with a bunch of other fucking world leaders and just talk to the guy whenever he wants to.
Do you think they have each other's contacts directly, or do you think he has an assistant?
That's a good question. I think the answer to that question would probably kind of give away how compromised Trump is. Yeah. If it's going through assistance, then that would be what I would expect. But if he is just calling Putin himself, he's got a direct line. No. The piss tape is real and Russia has it.
I mean, yes, but we're talking about how compromised Trump is, Kyril. Come on, stay on topic.
So, speaking of compromised, changing it up here, the U.S. government has a 10% stake in Intel now.
I fucking love communism.
Yeah, this is just communism. This is the government owning at least part of a company.
In all due respect, I stole this joke from Kyle before the show started.
Thank you.
But it's the state jokes now.
Yes, our joke.
Our joke.
It's an interesting idea, I'll be honest. And this was like kind of the fundamental part of this is like, if there was a plan behind this, I think this would probably be a good idea. Having our government very literally invested in the success and failures of our companies should force them to make decisions that are actually beneficial for the people who work at those companies, who rely on the products that those companies make, and not just endless shareholder profits. We've seen no indication that that's actually going to be the case, though, because this entire thing seems to have been pulled out of Trump's ass at some point. The other part of it, right, is that we had the what the hell was that? Foxconn, who was supposed to make a factory in Wisconsin or Minnesota, I don't remember where, but they got a bunch of money from the government to do it, and they broke ground, and they basically never finished. They hired like people to make the place, but then they never staffed it the way that they said they were going to. It was supposed to bring all of these jobs into the region, and it just didn't. So, in theory, I could see a deal like this being a way to encourage the government to actually, you know, have some teeth and have some direction into assuring their stake in these kinds of projects, right?
Yeah.
However, this deal does not do that at all. Let me see if I can find the exact wording of it, but here we go. The government will have no board representation or other governments or information rights. So we don't even get that. If the company decides that they're going to make a decision that's going to completely screw over the American people, we have no recourse for that. It's weird and pretty concerning.
I really have no idea how to internalize it, to be frank. Like, I completely agree with you on those matters. What the fuck is the next president after Donnie going to do with 10% of Intel stock?
Yeah. And it's not like you can sell it, right? That would tank the stock. That's huge.
Like, I don't know what you're going to do with that. Like, we're just going to have it forever now. I guess it makes Intel possibly one of the most stable stocks on the fucking market.
I'm not sure about that one.
No? Okay. Then I'll take it back. Yeah.
I mean, if it was purchased by a country that was stable, then yes. But we talked about this a few months ago, right? The state of the U.S. bond market, the U.S. dollar is the weakest it has basically ever been because of international uncertainty about the health of the dollar long term. There's a really good article I was actually reading this week talking about how Kai Ryssdal, shout out to the guy. I think he's on NPR still, but he is like the one economist that I can tolerate. He reposted an article talking about how the international dollar trade market works. Like, how do other countries get US dollars and what do they use them for? And how do those loans operate? And it is more complicated than I'm going to get into at this point. But the short of it is that because the dollar is stable compared to other currencies, when other countries have companies that are having really bad economic times that are expected to be extremely brief, those countries will get loans of US dollars to give to those companies to give them stability in those times, that then have those loans paid back on like a period of days or a week at most. Right now, the only thing that is keeping that market alive is a lack of an alternative to the US dollar. And what we're likely to see is a bit of an arms race by other major currencies, particularly the China and the EU, to position their currencies as that replacement stable currency for those purposes.
That's gonna be really fucking embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is basically the only thing that is stopping the dollar from collapsing outright, is that there is not a clear and obvious alternative to it. But that is more of a when problem, not an if. It will. People are gonna figure out an alternative soon enough. So, yeah.
But what if we just don't
not
give them a
great.
reason? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We should just like be cool and let our fucking economic superpower persist. You know, like it's over. The Cold War, we won. We're technically like arguably the superpower at the moment. Give it like 3 weeks, but you know, we shouldn't fuck up our strat.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't fuck up our strat just because Barack Obama decided to show a little portion of The Lion King at a press conference. Now there is a deep cut political reference. That's not even deep cut.
I guess where to go next? Let's talk about mail ballots.
Oh no.
This is a quick one. Basically, the short of it is that mail-in ballots are under attack again, even though the current administration flip-flops depending on how beneficial it is to them. Yeah. Thankfully, I'm very glad that our state has moved past this as an issue. But just something to be aware of for, on the horizon. It's Trump wants to basically stop mail-in voting.
But
again.
Why?
Thankfully Politico does not, they bury the lead a little bit, but it is in the subtitle. Trump wants to roll back mail voting that he baselessly claims is ripe for fraud. So they at least got it in the subtitle.
Is that just an admittance of guilt, Mr. Donnie?
It sure seems like it. In some other smaller news, Cracker Barrel changed their logo this week and caused their stock price to plunge by $100 million.
White erasure. Am I right, fellow millennials?
Yep. They dropped 7.2% by Thursday, losing $94 million in market value. At its lowest, they had lost almost 200 million, so it had rebounded some from that.
That's still stupid.
They gained again on Friday, and it closed down at less than 1% from where it was prior. So it's such a weird thing. Like, obviously, all of these logo redesigns suck. They all are awful. But the response to this one has been especially funny because a lot of that major stock price drop was from almost exclusively right-wing influencers being extremely outraged over this because of woke. And then all of the woke people were just like, yeah, this sucks. And then they had to be kind of like, wait a minute, we don't have an argument anymore. Like, how many people actually go to Cracker Barrel still, right?
Actually, I went there probably at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They're still slapping.
I've probably been to one in the last 2 years. They're fine. Yeah.
It's
so
like IHOP.
I'm not going to seek one out.
IHOP if the chef had a little bit more standards, but they try to upsell you on a lot of shit.
Only a little.
Yeah.
There is. I'm just curious. I don't actually know.
I could go for some IHOP right now.
That's kind of crazy.
What's up?
There's not that many Cracker Barrels.
Well, you only need like them on the side of the highway.
There's one near Grand Rapids, but the closest one to me is like a half-hour drive at least, and then the next closest one from that is in fucking Indiana.
Really?
Yeah. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. Yeah, only 8 of them in the entire state.
This is how you know we're a blue state.
I mean, it doesn't change that much once you get, like, I'm trying to check Indiana right now. And almost all of them are centered on Indianapolis. There's 7 in Indianapolis, and then outside of that, there's another 8 that aren't in Indianapolis. So, like, there's just not that many of them.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you a very personal question.
Yeah.
Best restaurant breakfast. Go.
Does it have to be, like, fast food kind of chain restaurant?
It can be chain, it can be fast food. All I'm just saying is it's somewhere you have to go and buy, and it's functionally a restaurant.
Right. Because, like, for me, the actual answer is find a local cafe, find a local coffee shop, because it's going to be the same price as anything like that and way better.
Foiled.
If we're not talking about, like, small places like that, then, man, I realized I've never been to a Waffle House.
Neither have I, actually.
Yeah, I think that's mostly a geography problem. There's just not that many up farthest north.
Not for pure Michigan, boys.
No. What would I put at the top for like a quick but still sit down?
Yeah.
It's probably, I mean, I don't know. I just don't do that much, honestly. That's what I'm kind of realizing. I couldn't tell you exactly when the last time I went out for breakfast was. That wasn't like a nice place for a specific thing.
For me, back in May,
yeah.
we went to, when I did my first big run, the Riverbank run, downtown GR, I was hungry as a motherfucker after that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like only 10 a.m. when that happened.
Right.
Bob Evans slaps.
Bob Evans is pretty good. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think of the breakfast places that I've been to, Cracker Barrel is probably pretty high up there. But for me, and this is a big caveat, the conditions that require me to be eating breakfast out, I'm getting something like McDonald's every time because I care about the speed of it, and I'm probably eating in the car.
Fair. You know, that's completely reasonable.
Yeah. Otherwise, like if I'm gonna sit down, like the fastest food that I'm gonna do, like, okay, this is something that I am especially really spoiled for. I'm going to fucking Sweetwater's Donuts.
That's not fair.
It's not fair at all. I have access to 3 of them.
Do you know how many we have up here?
2 on my, I think it's none, isn't it?
Yeah, we have none.
Yeah, like you have to go down to like 40 minutes down of the highway just to get to one of them. No, Sweetwater's Donuts is unmatched still.
Fuck you.
That's fair. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if they still rank the same way that they do, but I remember back in like 2006 or something, they top rated on a national donut survey.
That's funny.
And like, yeah, I fucking believe it. It's amazing.
I remember back in Olivet, Dr. Flynn, the music professor, would bring our class Sweetwater Donuts. Fucker would bring them in for his majors first, and then us minors would get the lowly scraps.
Yeah. See, what I always like doing is getting donut holes.
Yes.
You can get so many fucking donut holes for like $20 there. You used to, at least. I know prices have gone up a lot. I will say, that is the thing that COVID absolutely ruined for me the most, is that the Sweetwater's closest to me is no longer open 24 hours. Like, what a fucking sin that is. I was fucked over so badly on it a year and a half ago when I was driving home from work in the winter. It was just shit weather. I had to get off the highway and onto back roads because I couldn't see anything. So it turned my 35-minute drive into an hour and a half already just because of that. And I leave work at my normal time at like 6 o'clock. And I've been on the road for over an hour at this point. I'm just like, I need to stop somewhere to eat because it's fucking late and I'm tired and I need a break anyways. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm going to be driving past Sweetwater's. Perfect. I'll stop by there, get a donut or two, and, I'll be good. A little bit of a treat because things are shit. I get there at like 8:10 and find out on that day that they changed their hours so that they close at 8 o'clock now.
Jesus.
Fucking criminal.
This concludes the Pure Michigan ad that we're obligated to by our overlord Whitney for this episode.
Is that still the slogan? I thought they changed the slogan.
They better not. Fucking love
Pure
Pure
Michigan.
Michigan.
They did.
Yeah.
It's a good one. No, it still is.
Yeah. Don't scare me like that. I didn't deserve that.
Okay. They must have just ran another campaign.
Okay.
And I got it confused.
Oh, Tim Allen did the original campaign? That's a yikes for me.
That's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I'm speaking on behalf of most of the Michigan community. We don't claim him. No. Like, he's fine in the 90s. He kind of... I will tell you, the moment Tim Allen was dead to me. Ready? 2 words. Wild hogs.
I'd forgotten about that. Oh my god. What an all-star lineup. Prime Travolta.
Yeah.
Back in the day when this shit on a $60 million budget could make $250 million.
Okay, can I be very blunt with some people right now?
Yeah.
We all complain about the MCU and like the overinflation of superhero movies. Shit wasn't much better before the MCU. Fuck you.
Nope.
No,
movies have sucked forever.
Yeah. You think we were getting fucking Taxi Driver or fucking Goodfellas every week? No. If anything, right? Right. Here we are, right? I argue we get more good movies with stuff like the fucking MCU around here for fucking marketing and fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Social networking within the industry. The MCU serves a purpose.
Do you want to take a stab at what the Rotten Tomatoes score for it is?
28?
Less.
14.
Exactly 14.
Fuck that movie. Wild Hogs is not good. And you know what, people? As a survivor of the 2000s, we had to fucking watch this shit on a shitty DVD player because the home video sales on shit like this were phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
This shit would go blow up on Black Friday every year.
Different times.
It was a different time. A darker time.
Mm-hmm. To wrap up our news segment, this week, John Bolton had his house raided by the FBI, claiming to be looking for classified documents. And that's not great, but early reporting shows that there might be some validity to that, and it was just handled really poorly. But I want to talk about it because there's an excellent Atlantic article by Graham Wood titled "Nobody Likes John Bolton." Subtitle is, no one can say definitively whether today's raid is due to Bolton's status as a critic, Bolton's bad judgment, malfeasance, or nothing at all.
Yeah.
Some highlights here. In January, Trump pulled Bolton's security detail, which had been in place due to credible threats by the Iranian government, which is also not a fan of John Bolton. Bolton's neighbors, Gerald Rogel, told the New York Times that Bolton was, quote, unfriendly, and he added, dryly and a little gratuitously, John Bolton is not our favorite person.
That's funny.
That's really good.
Whoever wrote this deserves a fucking Pulitzer.
Allegedly, according to New York Times reporting, the raid was following, quote, intelligence collected overseas by the CIA, and that it seems unlikely that it's related to Trump and Bolton's falling out, which culminated in 2019 with Bolton being fired by Trump for being useless and kind of shitty at his job.
Yeah.
So yeah, sucks to be him, but I think it's important to, in these times like this, to recognize when shit like this happens that is pretty clearly not okay, just as like fundamental freedoms kinds of things. But also, like, you don't have to give it to Bolton. He is not on our side. You can defend somebody's rights without being on their side.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, because I've seen some people be like, man, the current things make John Bolton seem sane. And no, it doesn't. He's the one who perpetuated a lot of this shit.
They're just appropriating his culture.
Yeah, just because you haven't seen the guy in the news doesn't mean he's gotten any less insane.
Yeah.
So, with that, would you like to talk about some movies?
Wild Hogs?
Not quite. There's actually a surprisingly wide release schedule this week.
What you got?
So starting off with some catch up from our off week, Nobody 2, the sequel to Nobody, released this week, starring Bob Odenkirk as the lead.
I love Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah. It's an action movie, action comedy kind of thing, but seems fine.
Yeah, it does seem fine.
Good summer flick.
You know, what I like about the Nobody movies, I've only seen like one from the corner of my eye while doing some other stuff. They don't try to be anything more than what they are.
Absolutely.
Like, do you want to see Bob Odenkirk, Saul from Better Call Saul, Saul from Breaking Bad, just punch some dudes?
Why not?
Why not?
We also have a really highly rated one. I hadn't heard about this at all. I guess it's probably because it looks like it's an Apple TV Plus thing. Highest to Lowest has Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, directed by Spike Lee. When a Titan music mogul, widely known as having the best ears in the music, is targeted with a ransom plot, he is jammed up in a life or death moral dilemma. Brothers Denzel Washington and Spike Lee reunite, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, currently sitting at a 90% from critics, 86% from audiences.
Okay.
Less highly received, Eden, which is kind of only really notable because it has Jude Law as the lead. The shocking true story of a group of disillusioned outsiders who abandon modern society in search of a new beginning. Settling on a remote, uninhabited island, their utopian dream quickly unravels as they discover that the greatest threat isn't the brutal climate or deadly wildlife, but each other. What follows is a chilling descent into chaos where tensions spiral, desperation takes hold, and a twisted power struggle leads to betrayal, violence, and the death of half of the colony. 55%. I always like seeing Jude Law getting more work. I think he's a really good actor. Bit of an unfortunate one, though. Has Sydney Sweeney in it, I guess, as well.
Are people still thirsting for her?
Yeah. That's actually quite a decent cast. Vanessa Kirby is in it.
Nice.
It's unfortunate. This is the kind of thing that, like, if DVDs are still a thing in 2 years, I could see myself picking up for like $5 somewhere.
Oh yes, the Wild Hogs effect. I'm sorry, that movie is in my head again.
Our last new movie to talk about, Americana. 67%. A gallery of dynamic characters clash over the possession of a rare Native American artifact in this wildly entertaining modern day Western. After the artifact falls into the black market, a shy waitress with big dreams teams up with a lovelorn military veteran to gain possession of it, putting them in the crosshairs of a ruthless criminal. I only really wanted to talk about this. I'm realizing this as well, that the waitress is also played by Sydney Sweeney, so back to back for her. But the other lead in this is someone we've talked about a lot recently. It's our good friend, Paul Walter Hauser, again.
You know, when you mentioned him, I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
I had a feeling. Paulie Hauser.
I was curious on this. I pulled up his full list and confirmed that this is his fourth movie that has released so far this year, and he is scheduled for another one that is going to be coming out later this year, which is some Bruce Springsteen thing. Biopic, I guess.
Okay.
Chronicles the making of Springsteen's 1982 Nebraska album. So, yeah. The reason this popped up for me is that when I was on my flights, obviously you get the movies to watch. And we'll be getting into another one to round off the show. But on the way back, I saw Paul Walter Hauser in another movie, and I was just like, wait a minute, this came out this year? Called The Luckiest Man in America. Dude's prolific. Good for him, I guess, right?
He's got a really good fucking agent.
Oh, absolutely. It's been obviously a little bit mixed, but he's got a crazy spread here, right?
Yeah.
Like, in a year, he was in an Apple TV exclusive thing, a Marvel movie, a major summer comedy, an action western, and then a biopic. That is a spread.
He's diversifying his portfolio.
Yeah. I do have one more to talk about. The other movie I watched on the flight.
Yes.
I've seen Thunderbolts.
And how was it?
It was really fucking good.
It was really fucking good, you say?
It was really, really good. Good enough, I think, that, from my opinion, it is the best superhero movie of the year so far, at least.
You see, here's the thing I've discovered, right? Superhero movies have gotten so good this year, out of nowhere, that everybody's become a toxic asshole about it, where I'm from. Because, God forbid, if you say Fantastic Four is just as good as Superman, holy fuck.
It's weird, isn't it?
You know how many people have hit me with that opinion? Like you're wrong for thinking Fantastic Four is as good as Superman. 3 people in my life.
3?
Yeah,
that's kind of psychotic,
dude. Like, I get it. James Gunn is good. I'm not saying Fantastic Four is better than Superman. I'm saying they are comparable in quality. Fuck you.
Yeah, they're both really good for different reasons. Yeah, and I think that applies to Thunderbolts as well, where it is also really good for different reasons. And I kind of view it on like a sliding scale of, on one side you have what the movie is trying to do, and on the other side you have what the movie is actually doing. And for me, on the what the movie is actually doing, I think you have Fantastic Four, whereas like a final product, it is technically the best movie. It's shot the best, it's written the best, it is structured the best, but what it's trying to do isn't particularly special, if that makes sense. It's very by the book. It's hitting the beats that it needs to, but it's not really challenging anything by laying out those beats. As you go the other direction, you have Superman that is trying to be a little bit more outside the mold. It's doing that sort of like hyper positive kind of thing. And there are times that because of that, it isn't able to stick the landing quite as much because it's trying to do more. But when we're talking about that back and forth, I think that was a big part of why I preferred it, is because I can see what they're trying to do and I respect it more for doing that.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah. I think Superman, in the great pantheon, because I'm going to be honest with you, I really want to watch Thunderbolts. Is going to be the one that's probably remembered more in the long scheme.
I very much agree with that.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily get it out of like where it stands right now.
Yeah. Thunderbolts takes that to the complete extreme, where in terms of like technical aspects, right? Total scene setting, structure, the use of CGI. I think it's definitely visually, technically the weakest of the movies, in part because it's just dealing with so much more normal people as the leads. But in terms of what it is trying to do, it is absolutely breaking outside the mold the most. I don't want to spoil it for you because there's actually parts of it that are not particularly hard to see, but that aren't explicitly spelled out in the trailers. They haven't been properly spoiled yet, at least for me, that I really appreciated them trying to tackle. Okay. And I think they didn't, like, it was good enough for me that I would rather watch Thunderbolts again on a fucking airplane seat back than I think Fantastic Four in the theater. Because what it's trying to do is so much more interesting than seeing just the really shiny special effects again.
Isn't it funny how we went into this year with no anticipation for that movie, and it is quite possibly up there right now?
I was completely ready to just write it off before it even came out, and I was really surprised hearing the reviews at the time, where the overall overwhelming sentiment was, this is better than you think it's going to be. And I wanted to see it because of that. I was a bit surprised by that, and just timing wise never ended up working out. But I regret it now. Absolutely. I should have just bit the bullet and found a couple hours to head over to the theater.
In that case, I'm going to definitely need to find some time.
Yeah, highly recommend it. I mean, it's the kind of thing where there's obviously Yelena is the main character in it. Is it Florence Pugh? Florence Pugh. But all of the cast have really good moments as like not just superheroes, but as characters, as people who are having a story told about them.
Yeah.
That was I found that refreshing. I also wanted to point out, while we're talking movies, we had one that we missed somehow. I think maybe we had an off week or something, but there's a new War of the Worlds movie.
Yeah, that was an off week, and I'm well aware of that piece of shit, and I do not look forward to any conversation ever about that.
I wanted to point it out only because on Rotten Tomatoes' what to watch at home thing right now, War of the Worlds pops up there with a 76% rating. And I was like, what the hell's going on? I thought this was terrible. It's because people are going out and watching the Tom Cruise one.
That's funny.
Isn't it? The movie is so notoriously bad that people aren't even hate watching it. They're just going and watching the one that they actually like.
I can deal with this.
Yeah. So,
do we have anything to contribute to the War of the Worlds fucking conversation?
Not especially. The most that I know about it, there was what is his name? Pointless Hub, film-ish reviewer. Usually goes and looks at older things, but he took a break from that, from like reviewing like 2005's Fantastic Four, to watch and review this because of the genre style of it. Did you know that War of the Worlds 2025 is almost a found footage film?
I did know that.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I would have not guessed that you have Ice Cube and you're putting him in front of a computer screen for 2.5 hours. So yeah, I recommend that review, War of the Worlds 2025, the greatest film of all time, because it's very funny just to see how bad this actually is without like wasting your time watching the actual movie. The only other piece I have, kind of a big bullet dodged. Apparently, Linus of Linus Tech Tips, at some point before COVID, was brought on as a consultant for the movie, and eventually ended up asking for his name to be removed from the credits. And then eventually, the thing that he worked on just wasn't included in the final cut. But we almost had Linus fucking Tech Tips in this movie, and that's something to say.
That's fucked up.
Isn't it? It would have been very funny, though. Like, I guess if you have a bit role in something like this, Morbius tier level of bad, I wonder how that influences something. I think for somebody like Linus, he could spin that around really, really effectively into a positive thing for himself, even though the movie is so terrible. He would have some fun with it.
Anything else for the show today?
That is all that I have.
That's about all that I have as well. I'm Neef Orion. And you know what? I think I've been a Schmo.
I'm Cairo. I'm also a Schmo.
And ladies and gentlemen, remember, it's rough out.